Hi, it's Will Shannon here, and I want to talk to you today about causes of dizziness. Now, I would classify that there are three major causes of dizziness. Number one is to do with the spinal cord. That's to do with our vertebrae that are sitting left, right, back and forth, the fact that the muscles hold the spine in place, the fact that we don't move enough as a species, which means that we get muscular pain and we get aches, which means things like the head can not be sitting on the atlas properly, which is the atlas is the fancy word for the first vertebrae in your neck, which they call the C1 vertebrae. C1 just means the cervical, which are the first 7 vertebrae in your neck. Now, obviously, we can go about treating that. Now, second thing, if people have a degree of dizziness, I'd be looking at blood pressure. They have high or low blood pressure, and are they, they get up and down, and the circulation rushes, and they feel like passing out, or they're losing consciousness. So in that case, I'd be looking at kidneys, which we call the renal system, or the circulation, what we call the cardiovascular system, which means heart and veins. With the first one, with the spinal cord, we'd be looking at some of the treatments that we use for MS and Parkinson's, which is movement and Pilates and creams down the spine. And we even sometimes put herbs in people's ears. Dr. Christopher used to have a very, very good formula called B&B tincture, which I make, which people can put in their ears, and that can certainly help. The third thing that we look at with dizziness is the middle ear. Now, one of the tests for this is called the Dix-Hallpike maneuver, named after two gentlemen, Dix, D-I-X for Xerox, hyphen Hall-Pike. Now, as it's very cumbersome when I do these videos, I'm not going to put all the pictures of the Dix-Hallpike and the maneuvers and things here. What I might do is on the Biomedic website with a K, I might put some free ebooks and things you can download, or you can always contact me and I can show you how to do that or do that. Now, you have to be very conscious when doing a Dix-Hallpike test with people, because sometimes, you can throw them back, you just make them more dizzy, and if it's not the problem, then you contribute to it. Now, when you do a Dix-Hallpike test, you sort of, I use the word throw, but I should say you gently move people back briskly, and you put them in a certain position, you put their eyes to a certain position, and you watch if their eyes move back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, this is called nystagmus. Now, depending on the difference, the direction that the nystagmus moves really depends on the type of challenge that people face. So we can identify, and again, I can put a picture on the website if it goes back and forth one way, if it's middle ear, if it's a different part, if it's the brain. Now, what it really means is that the eyes are behind the proprioception system, and people get very, very dizzy. Now, there's something called canalithiasis, which was a label invented by a genius of a man called Dr. Epley. It's still incorrectly called, according to him, BPPV, which is benign proximal positional vertigo. And this is when the little hairs, or sometimes people call them crystals, in the middle ear fall out and they start going in the semicircular canal, and the Epley maneuver is designed to maneuver those out. Now, in my experience, that can help. Particularly, you'll notice if people are turning left or right and they get really dizzy, you may want to look at a Dix-Hallpike test and do an Epley maneuver. But generally, if people are turning left and right and getting dizzy, it can also be what we call cervical vertigo, which is named after the vertebrae in your neck, or the Americans say cervical vertigo, which means that we definitely want to have a look at your neck. Now, sometimes we need to retrain your proprioception system. Now, we do that often by getting people swimming. You must exercise every day. There's really no excuse for it. Even if you're not well, check with your medical doctor. Be intelligent, know your limits. And sometimes if you're healthy, you can push yourself past your perceived limits. But definitely, we like to do things where we activate the primitive reflexes, which is getting people rolling every day, spinning around and commando crawling back and forth for a good 10 minutes. And we want to activate the spinal cord and get those muscles and train the body. Definitely, if there's ever a jaw problem going on and there's a degree of dizziness, you need to fix that. One of the things that I'm a big fan of is called facial aerobics. I use that as a derivative of Jack LaLanne. From memory, I could spell this wrong. Lalanne. Genius of a man back in the 1950s, used to have a TV show. And used to teach people to scrunch up the muscles in their face. And I modified that based on the work of Paul Ekman, who, again, a very effective man who trains the Secret Service and CIA in America to read microgestures, who spent his life studying when the facial muscles go in a certain position, what emotion people are feeling. And rather than just being very random like Jack LaLanne, I tend to, mimic those, those facial expressions where the muscles should be moving normally. And it's like giving a workout for your face, which shifts all the muscles. And Jack LaLanne used to use that as a free facelift. And as you know, women spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on cosmetic products when really, sometimes when we feel like we put a lot of effort in, we think that we're getting a reward. So we spend $1,000 for something that literally would cost me about 25 cents, a lot of these products to manufacture. We feel like we're putting more effort in when really we're just deluding ourselves. So definitely in terms of skincare, my product of choice has always been jojoba oil, Jojoba, and certainly some other things. And I sell some cosmetic creams with 11 or 12 herbs and things, and one of the herbs in there we used to use to regrow people's limbs, at least in some of the old natural health books. So I hope this is helpful. So in summary, if you're dizzy, definitely get on the ideal, what you call your ideal health day. Now, the name of this might change in the future, but this is the bottom line program I put on the Biomedic website. That is the ideal for everyone. What do you eat, what do you drink, what do you breathe, and what do you put on your skin every day, and what do you eliminate from your 4 elimination channels: defecate, urinate, respirate, and perspirate. That's the bottom line. Now, the hinge with that is exercise. Now, obviously, when people's pelvis is out or they have challenges, walking can be a huge challenge. You know, some of these things. So sometimes you do want to do gentle exercises like Pilates and yoga on the back, where people can do this. Also recommend that if you're going to exercise, if you're able, if you're disciplined, do it yourself on a DVD. It's very cheap. But definitely go to a class if you can, because having the people around you and the social pressure will push you several times past your so-called perceived limit. Normally when you're by yourself, you go, oh, all right, that's enough, I can't do that. But when there's other people around, as long as it's in a safe comfort zone, you can push yourself beyond what you ever thought is possible. And there's also cheap ways to do this. I mean, Pilates sessions can be very expensive. If it's private, it could be $70 or $80, or you can go with 2 or 3 people off, and it can be $30, $35, or $40. Or sometimes you can do a group class, which is $16 or even $5, depending on where you find it. And definitely, I have a list of people, if you're in Sydney, Australia, you can use. So go out and get moving. Do your ideal health day. Definitely, if you're dizzy, I do like the herb ginkgo biloba and brahmi. Again, check with your medical practitioner before taking any herbs or supplements. And we also want to make sure that your circulation is moving as well, and that structurally through the face and the spinal cord, you're well. Appreciate you listening, and you have a good day. It's Will Shannon.